Hello and welcome to the Happy Families podcast. I'm going to do this intro a little differently to normal. Kylie, I have a question for you. I don't normally bring you in this soon, but I'm bringing you in now. My question is this. Got Christmas in, 2 weeks today. Would you rather that I gave you an envelope with the promise of an experience? Or would you rather that I gave you a package tied with a bow with a gift inside for Christmas? Pick your preference.
It's a no-brainer.
Yep.
It's experiences all the way.
Why?
Firstly, I'm not a things kind of person. Material things don't really matter to me very much.
Okay.
But the anticipation of knowing I get guaranteed time with you doing something new or exciting is the best. That's better than anything.
Today on the pod, we talk about the way to give the perfect gift. Is it an experience? Is it a thing? What does the research show? There is quite a lot of research in this area. And how in the world are we supposed to understand the science of gift giving in a developmental framework so that we can make sure that we're giving the right stuff to the right person for the right reasons that's going to maximize their happiness on Christmas Day? Stay with us. That's next. Hi, welcome to the Happy Families podcast, where you get real parenting solutions every single day on Australia's most downloaded parenting podcast. We're Justin and Kylie Coulson. Kylie, let's talk about this conversation around gift giving because...
Well, you use that word maximize.
Maximize happiness on Christmas Day.
And I've never thought about it, but you're a maximizer.
Maximization.
You are.
100%. What makes you say that? What have you seen?
You're always trying to maximize your time, your energy, how you spend your time with others.
There's a name for this.
What is it? Extra?
Yeah, extra, yeah. I was going to go back to a 1980s name, actually, but the 2025 version of it is extra, yeah. The name for it is Type A.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm a little, which is extra, right? So today on the pod, let's talk about it. I mean, a number of years ago, probably 10 or 12 years ago now, could have even been more, it might be 15, a couple of researchers, one from the University of British Columbia in Canada, her name's Liz Dunn, and a Harvard co-author, Michael Norton, co-authored Happy Money, The Science of Smarter Spending. And they published research in the journal Science that showed that people are happy when they spend money on others versus themselves. Now, I actually do this in one of my presentations. I ask for 4 volunteers. They come up to the front of the room. I used to do this with cash. I think I'm going to start doing it with cash again. I've been doing it with chocolates for the last year or two, but cash is more fun. And what I would do is I would say to the first person, hey, here's $5. Or here's a chocolate bar. Either. I'd say, here's the money or here's the chocolate bar and it's all yours just because you volunteered. I just want to give it to you. How awesome is that? And do you know, not one person ever looked at me and said that they were upset about it. Everybody was like stoked. Like getting cash or getting a chocolate from somebody makes you feel happy. And I said, but the rule is you're not sharing it with everyone. This is yours. And then I would go to the second volunteer and say, I'd give them exactly the same thing, either $5 or a chocolate bar. And I would say, this is for you. In the same way that I gave volunteer number 1 the same thing. But there's a catch. It's not actually for you. I want you to spend that $5 on someone else, or I want you to give that chocolate bar to someone else. At which point everyone in the crowd will go, pick me. And I'd say, no, keep your hands down. They're going to give it to somebody later at home. It's not for anyone in the room. And then I would ask the question, who do you think is going to be happier? Who do you think is going to be happier? And people would vote. So, I mean, I've given you zero information about today's podcast. I've done all the prep on this one. You're literally here as a passenger so I can quiz you the way that I am right now. What would you imagine the crowd would choose? Who's going to be happier out of the person that's got the $5 of the chocolate bar for themselves versus the person that's got the $5 of the chocolate bar to give away?
I think it would depend on the age group that you were with, but I would say that generally people would think that having the chocolate bar or the money for themselves would make them happier.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because often people will literally say that. They'll be like, oh yeah, the chocolate, like, or the $5. What are you going to spend $5 on someone? Just have it. But what I've discovered over time is that more and more people are sort of going, no, when you give it away, you do feel better. So what I do next, Kylie, is I pull out a $20 note or sometimes even a $50 note, depending on what I've got. two of these cost me a lot, so I'm a little bit stingy about it sometimes. But I either pull out a 20 or a 50, and I give it to volunteer number 3, and I say, hey, guess what? This is what I'm giving to you. And the whole crowd goes, wow, like they can't believe that there's a pineapple, a $50 note there, or even a 20. Or I pull out one of the big boxes of mixed chocolates, like the really expensive big ones, and the whole crowd goes, oh, and I look at them and I say, this is for you, only you. I either want you to spend this money on yourself if I'm giving them cash, or I want you to eat these. Just keep them in your top drawer. They're not for sharing. They're for you to take a moment of pleasure every time you need it, right? So this is a purely selfish gift. And volunteer number 3 is just going, oh my goodness, have I scored today or what? And I kind of laugh and I'm like, who do you reckon is looking happy now, huh? And then I go to volunteer number 4, same. I give them either the same 20 or $50, or I give them the same big box of chocolates. And I say, but like volunteer number 2, you're going to give this away. You're not going to give the person cash, but you're going to go and spend the cash on something for someone, or you're going to share these chocolates with someone. Again, and everyone in the room is like, share them with me. I'm like, no, it's not anyone in the room. Like, think about somebody that you really want to make an impact in their life and do it that way. And then I ask the crowd again, okay, who's going to be happiest this time? And so what would you imagine the response is when we're talking about a bigger box of chocolates or a bigger sum of money?
I think it's still the same.
You think that the person who gets to keep it for themselves, people would vote that they'll be the happiest?
Yeah.
So there are always some people in the room who do vote that way. But the majority, consistently, I think that teachers have had enough wellbeing education now to know, but the majority of people start to say, oh, when you give stuff away, you actually, giving things away is joy multiplied.
So is that because $5 is kind of meh? You can't do much with $5, but with 50 you can?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting, because what I'll do then is I'll ask volunteer number 1 and volunteer number 3 to sit down. And I'll say, you go and be miserable with your chocolate, or you go and be miserable with your money, and everyone laughs. And I'll say, all right, so we've got volunteer number 2 and volunteer number 4. One of them's got $5 or 50, and the other one's got 50. Or one of them's got a small chocolate and one of them's got a big box of chocolates. And they're giving it away. And I'll say, all right, you guys have voted that out of the 2 pairs, the 2 like-for-like pairs, the people giving it away are going to be the happiest. That's what the overwhelming vote was. But now we've got somebody with a big thing to give away and someone with a little thing to give away. And then I ask the question again. Who's going to be happiest? How would you respond?
I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters whether it's $5 or $50.
So this one's always more provocative. There are some people who are like, oh no, it hurts to give something bigger away. Like that's hard, but it also feels awesome when you do it. And then there are some people who are like, oh no, you kind of feel stingy when you're giving the little thing away. Like, so there's a little bit of a mix, but generally the answer that I get overwhelmingly is what you just said. And my response to that is, it's not what you give, it's that you give that makes you happy. So Kylie, I'm sharing that because Liz Dunn and Michael Norton, they did a variety of experiments and studies aligned with those kinds of ideas. And it's really fun to watch it play out. But there's more to it than that. I know you want to share something, though. I can see it on the tip of your tongue.
So the other day, our daughter asked if she could gift her teachers something for Christmas.
Yes.
And I had some chocolates and I wrapped them up and made them look pretty. And she said, I really want to do something more than chocolates. She said, I know that they can't get through a day without a coffee. She said, do you think we could go and get some coffee vouchers? And I said, that's fine. So we went down and we got some coffee vouchers. Can I tell you, it was just one coffee. It was just a free coffee with some chocolates. I actually got an email from one of the teachers. He's never, in all of his teaching career, received a gift from a student. That's the first thing. But secondly, he was so taken by the one free coffee. It cost me $6. He was so taken that I would go out of my way to gift him something that I was blown away. This email just lit me up.
You never told me about this.
No.
I'm sitting here almost weeping hearing you tell this story.
And it gave him an opportunity to tell it. He just said, the words were, your daughter has been the gift this year.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, there's a little bit of a flex there as well while we're telling the story about how generous we are. Oh, my goodness.
But it's the reason I share it is because it was such a simple act. It's $5. It's $6. It's not like I spent...
You didn't send him to Hawaii.
$100 or gave him an experience. His experience will be having a hot cuppa.
Yeah.
But it filled him, but it filled me in doing it without the email. It was just a really lovely thing to do.
I'm so glad you shared that. After the break, we're going to talk about, now that we know that giving makes us feel good, what does receiving feel like? Like, if you've got to open up a package that somebody is giving to you, what is the thing that's going to make you happiest as a receiver? Especially, we just want the kids to be happy on Christmas Day. So we're going to talk about that after the break. We're back. This is the Happy Families podcast. About a decade of research shows that it's much nicer. Well, in fact, centuries of common wisdom says that it's better to give than to receive. But Michael Norton and Liz Dunn's research also shows this. Buying experiences like trips and concerts and special meals makes people happier than material things.
That's because it costs more than $5.
Yes. Whether when you equalise things and make everything the same, both correlational and experimental studies have shown that people who spend money on others report more happiness, and material things don't bring as much happiness as experiences.
I have one gift that was tied up with a bow that you gifted me. We'd been married for about 7 years.
Right.
And no matter how long we've been married, it is still, hands down, my absolute favourite, and every time I open it, it just fills me with joy.
And it is?
It's a box of hand-cut hearts.
Oh, my goodness. I did like 50...
You did 50.
50 things I love about you.
Yes.
And I typed them up on hearts, and then I had to cut them out by hand. I swear it took me like 4 days.
But not only did you cut them out, you layered them. You used vellum.
I don't even know what that is. That's the see-through paper on top of the pink cardboard.
Of the pretty cardboard.
Okay.
And then you used brads to stick them together.
I used what? They were little heart-shaped things that you push through the hole.
That's right.
Yeah, okay, all right. Okay, so I mean, sometimes gifts do matter, right? But that's not a materialistic gift.
No, I was going to say, to me, that's actually an experience.
Yeah, because you sit there and you open them and read them.
Yes.
Yeah. So I want to talk about the developmental realities of what this research means. Okay, giving versus receiving. Giving feels better, right? Or does it? It depends how old you are in some ways.
Yeah, I think when you're young,
you just want to open stuff.
That's right. The idea of giving away.
And experiences or things, well, again, it depends on your age. So we're almost out of time. We've talked too long just about all the other stuff, and I want to go through this fairly quickly with you. So Chaplin and colleagues did 4 studies with kids aged 3 to 17. They published it in the International Journal of Research in Marketing, and they used a child development framework to understand how development and cognition, particularly memory and ability to understand the emotional states of others, impacts the way that gifts work on a day like Christmas Day. And here's what they found. With kids aged 0 to 2, well, let me ask you this, because, again, I haven't told you what's coming. Would you think that 0 to 2-year-olds, and we've got a granddaughter who's just turned 2, okay, she's not 3 yet, so she still fits in that 0 to 2 category. It's up to the age of 3. Do you think that she's more excited about getting or giving?
Getting.
You would be wrong. You would be wrong. The research shows that toddlers exhibit greater happiness when giving treats to others than receiving treats themselves. Children are happier after engaging in costly gift giving, forfeiting their own resources, than when giving the same treat at no cost, according to the researchers. I think that's fascinating, which I think just highlights that innately we are pro-social. We are supposed to be generous. I just love that. Okay, 3 to 12-year-olds, young children, do they want to give or receive?
Receive.
No, they do. And do they want to receive material things or experiences?
Material.
Oh, they do. The researchers said this: goods are much more concrete and require less reasoning about intention or mental states compared to experiences. Mm-hmm. I don't want to think about what you were thinking when you got this thing for me. I don't want to have to imagine what it's going to be like anticipating that we're going to do that thing in 3 months. I just want to open this thing and be excited about it now. And now I've opened it, I want another thing to open so I can be excited about that as well. The researchers found that young children clearly indicate that material goods give them more pleasure. It's important to understand, they say, that even young children derive happiness from their experiences. However, when the event is past, their thoughts are more dominated by the material gifts or souvenirs they can see and touch. Which is kind of annoying for us because we're trying to make this meaningful for our kids, but they don't care. They don't want meaning. They just want materialism. Okay, this one's where it gets interesting. 13 to 17-year-olds, adolescents. What do you think? Experiences or things?
I think it's a mix.
Yeah, because their cognitions are becoming more sophisticated. Yeah. The research actually shows that they're probably going to be a little bit more disappointed when they open up the experience and find out they've got to wait. But
they'll love it more.
They'll enjoy it more, and they'll remember it more, and they'll have all those good feelings. So you mentioned it in the intro. There's this idea that you kind of alluded to it. You didn't mention it specifically, but there's this idea when you open up a gift and it's an experience on Christmas Day, you've had all the anticipation leading up to Christmas Day, which makes you excited about opening the gift, and then you open it. And there's actually a little bit of a letdown. It's like, I don't have something right now. But then you see the gift and you're like, it's happening in February or April or whatever it is. And now you've got another couple of months to look forward to it. So the anticipation builds again. And then you have the experience. It's a joint experience. So you get to do it with somebody else, and that's wonderful. Oh my goodness, that's so good. And then you've got the memory as well. And so experiences work better on a range of complex ways, different domains. Experiences work better, but your kids have got to be old enough to be able to experience the joy ongoingly. That is pretty much what the research shows about how to give great gifts.
So what are we doing this year?
We're giving
tangible or experiences?
A whole lot of stuff.
Ho, ho, ho.
Monkey
Merry
see, monkey do,
Christmas.
Right? We've just had this great experience as a family. A great experience. I mean, we had our moments, but it was a great experience and created the memories. So that's that. But we're working hard on shifting the focus towards more experiences. And I think as time goes by and as our kids get older, they become much more meaningful. Anyway, that's the psychology of Christmas gift giving. We hope that you've enjoyed the podcast and gotten heaps of ideas out of it. And we hope that you can get a refund on everything that you've wrapped up and put underneath the tree. The Happy Families podcast is produced by Justin Rulon from Bridge Media. Mim Hammonds provides research, admin, and other support. And you can get more information and resources about making your family happier at happyfamilies.com.au.